Hi, this is Shari Miller, and I am here today from Angela Pan's cohort on the Path of the Protege, doing a critique with another apprentice in my cohort, whose name is George Tserkezidis. Did I get that close, George?
Very close. Hi.
Very close. And so we are going to be doing a critique of 5 of his works, a very diverse group of images that I'm really excited to talk about. But first of all, George, just tell a little bit about what were your goals with these images as you came into this critique.
Well, my goals were, I mean, I like to experiment. I know that some people in our cohort say that I have a certain style, but I'm still in the process of experimenting. I have a lot of interests, and yeah, well, my goal is to get better in photography, to get better at seeing things and expressing what I see through the photo and through the post-processing of the photo.
Oh, great. Well, I can definitely tell in this set of images that you are seeking to do a lot of different things and experimenting with a lot of different types of photography. When I opened up the album, I thought, wow, this is great. It's a diverse group of typography. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Let me see if I can get this to work here. Why don't you go ahead and tell a little bit about this photo, your intentions for it, where you were, a little bit of the background.
I took this photo a few years ago when I was in Iceland. And this is when we were approaching a place called Thor's Valley, and it was very cloudy actually this day. Actually, we had a cast, like there were no clouds. Everything was just gray. But then for a few moments, the sun came through, and the clouds got some structure. And at this moment, we stopped actually to see the mountains. And this is where I took this photo. My intention with this was, we had last week this theme of the week where I think was it David who suggested to process the pictures in the style of Ansel Adams or Adam Ansels.
Ansel Adams, that was right.
Yeah. And this was one of the photos that I did post-process, not the one that I submitted, but this was one of them, and I liked it a lot, and so that's why I submitted it to this critique, to hear your thoughts on this one too.
Well, I think it's a perfect fit for the Ansel Adams theme on this, with this black and white and the stunning contrast that you have throughout the image. I heard one time that that strong black and white images have a wide range of the spectrum of blacks and whites, from the deepest, darkest, blackest black to the very whitest white, and then all shades in between. And I definitely see that throughout this image. And the processing seems really nice on there as well. My favorite part of this image is this stream of light. I don't know if can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Coming down like that and then shining right on that area. When I was looking at this image closely, I thought, oh, what a perfect shot. And it's how fortunate that you had said that it wasn't very cloudy, and then all of a sudden this type of cloud came in when you were stopping to take the photograph here. I also like the way that the slope, the lines kind of start here and they go up that way, and then it's almost like waves in the ocean as it comes up, and then there's this big one that leads our eyes off the screen there. That's really nice how that works. And you've got it seems like there's 3 layers here too. You've got this first mountain, and then the mid-range mountain here, and then the furthest one. So you've got several different layers going on here as well. Very nice in that way. Just a couple of suggestions. It seems like maybe the whites are just a little bit hot up here. So maybe slightly. I wouldn't say very much though, because you do want that whitest white, but it just seems maybe a touch too white there. And then something that it may just be me. Yeah, I think it is kind of something that I like on the bottom of these images, on a lot of landscape, black and white landscape photos. It seems like the edge gets, when it just comes in the foreground and then it just ends. It always seems kind of sharp. and it ends really quickly. Sometimes what I do is just do a really light vignette, just along the bottom, and you can do it without necessarily having anything on the top, although you can maybe do that too, just slightly. But it feels like if you add that to the bottom, it kind of cradles and holds the image and brings our eyes back up toward the middle of the image there.
So you mean adding a vignette where exactly?
Right at or at least darkening the bottom edge, just so that when our eyes come down from here, it doesn't just cut off at the bottom with some of the other stuff that's kind of uneven, which is the way that the ground is when you're using it in the landscape. But just so that it kind of goes out gradually into a darker area down there, and that seems to kind of hold the image. Maybe if you use let me see if I can do it here. Let me get to develop.
I think I did exactly the opposite. I tried to lighten it a bit.
Ah, okay. Well, and again, too, I always say in critiques that I offer suggestions, and if they help bring the image to a place where it says more of what you want to say, then great. And if it doesn't, then stick with what you have, too. I think that's the way I like to approach critiques. Okay. So let me just try it with the vignette just slightly here. Yeah, what I would maybe do is, maybe do the vignette at the bottom and then go back and lighten up the colors, or use the graduated filter and just darken up the bottom a little bit. But I guess it depends, too, on what you want. Do you like the lighter in the bottom, or do you like the darker?
I tried both. I like both, actually. I used the lighter one because I thought that we might be, or the viewer might be might be more able to see the scale, because there is this small bushes in the front. That's actually the only reason I left it a bit lighter, to see that.
Okay. To grab the scale, because I know that in some of the critiques you've had with Angela, she's talked about that, leaving something in for scale, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that intention there, I think that makes a difference. So maybe it's just.
But you actually, I think you are right, because you don't see the scale much. It's just a bush, and the mountains are huge. I don't think that the bush is making much difference.
Yeah,
so maybe my thought process could not be applied here.
And it might be able to, and maybe to draw, because I will say that my attention is definitely drawn to the mountains and the clouds in that. But maybe that idea of just the corners, shading the lower corners, would kind of push our eyes towards those bushes too, to show the contrast with the mountains too. That might be another idea for this.
Okay.
But as is, it's a beautiful capture. Those clouds, you composed this very nicely, and took advantage of the great clouds, and I love the processing on this. So
thank you. I think they look kind of like something was burning, and now it's the steam that's going up.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Yeah. Anything else on this photo?
No.
Okay. Go to a very different photo now. This one. Tell me a little bit about this.
This is Margarita. She's a friend of mine, and she asked me to take some photos as profile photos for a new company that she is starting. And we were sitting in her flat, and it was so foggy this day you couldn't see 10 meters. And but the sun was shining, and I thought it would be interesting to experiment with that and take some silhouette photos of her outside on the balcony. And yeah, I wanted, after taking the pictures, was gray and black. So I thought I could make it look a bit maybe like a fashion photo, adding some color into this mix. but still keeping the silhouette. So I didn't want to lighten the darks, just wanted them to be actually darker.
So I think you executed this one very nicely. I love how perfect for the sun, and for you to see that the sun was like that with the fog and take advantage of that situation. Great composition with the sun up in the upper left, and then her face just to the right as our eyes come down that way. I like the fact that it's kind of an irregular shaped vignette around her. I think it works really well, and you've definitely, you've had this idea of a fashion silhouette, and you wanted to keep her dark and keep the contrast there, and did a wonderful job of this. How did she like it?
She loved it.
And does she use it for her profile picture?
No, it's not very serious as a picture for the company.
Gotcha. She needed something a little more business-like.
Right.
No, great thing. The only other thing that I thought maybe here was that it looked a little bit like the edge right here. The railing was just slightly tilted. Mm-hmm. And so I thought maybe you could go in, just kind of show you here, and straighten that out. And then I noticed that it's always tricky with these kind of barriers or whatever when you've got the lines there, whether they're straight or not, because it looks like this one is straight, but then this one looks like it's leaning in, and this one looks like it's leaning in as well, the opposite direction. And so have you done much with, are you familiar with the lens correction?
Yeah, of course. I applied lens correction. Oh, yeah, but the automatic one. I didn't experiment much with the manual controls.
Okay. Yeah, and the manual controls.
I remember seeing the tutorial that Jim did.
Yes.
About architecture photography and the tools that Photoshop provides for straightening certain things up. I thought about using this one to get this one right.
Yeah, and like I said, this is really just nitpicking. I think the photo does what it needs to, but if you're interested, this one is kind of interesting to play with. Going the wrong way there.
But then she gets a bit fat.
Does she change a lot? She does a little bit, doesn't she?
Yeah, she looks pregnant.
Well, we don't want that then. So yeah, but otherwise, I think that this is a well executed photo here, and it's no surprise that she likes this. Nice shot, nice job.
Thanks. The thing that I still need to do is, as you said, the correction that make it look a bit straight,
okay.
Both the horizontal and the vertical lines.
Okay.
But also now looking at the picture, I might also clean her hair on the back a bit.
I wondered about that as well. Do you like it that way, or would you prefer it cleaned up?
I would prefer it cleaned up. It kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I had noticed that too, but then I was like, well, maybe that's part of, more of the natural look there, but yeah, I could see where that would work. I'd love to see this one come back again, once you do those things to it.
I will.
Excellent. All right, tell us a little bit about this one.
This one I took, I think, a week ago, or maybe 10 days ago. I visited my cousin, and we went out for a walk with her dog. And as we left the house, I thought, wait a minute, let me take my camera with me. And it was a good thing that I took it with me, because this sunset was incredible. It was getting dark, so it would have been better if I had a tripod with me. But I found a tree where I could lean on and use a bit of slower shutter speed and lower the ISO.
Uh-huh.
What I wanted to capture were the colors and this lonely tree standing there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's what why a tripod would have been great with the lower ISO, but still I think was quite okay. I took quite a few pictures, so I would have one where where I was holding my camera steady. But I guess this is one of the pictures that people say it has my style written all over. Yeah, but yeah, it was basically the colors.
Yes, and that comes through very strong. I mean, you've got everything from these greens, these wonderful greens down here, to the yellows, and then you've got even this blue over here, up to the pink, and then the purple. You've just got such a variety of colors in this image too. Yeah, definitely, the tripod would have been one of those. I know I've been in those situations too, out, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had my tripod with me too, just to get that absolute clarity, in the trees and the lower ISO as well. So yeah, the colors, absolutely great, and I love the idea of the negative space, the great vast negative space. I thought, well, you could maybe crop it down a little bit, but I think you would lose something. I think there's something about that George style that you were talking about that comes through here with that as well. The only thing maybe is, although you'd be cutting off that cloud, I thought maybe this little bush over here kind of grabs my eye away from the bigger tree here. So I don't know if that's a matter of just maybe removing or cloning that one out, or trying a slightly shorter crop, but I'm not sure if that's kind of just nitpicky there too. One thing I thought, just for future, when you're out, if we're talking about in the field, I kind of want to see more of the trunk of this tree. And was it at all possible for you to move out into this field, or did you have to stay by the road or wherever it was that you were?
I could have, but I didn't. I didn't think of that.
Because I just wondered if you'd come out, maybe 50 or 100 yards, or 100 meters or whatever, and then crouch down pretty low so that you could still get the good green on the bottom, but then that would elevate. You would catch a little bit more of the trunk in the image the next time, so that instead of just seeing the top part of it, you could actually see more of the entire, not the entire, but more of the trunk of the tree and some of that space in between too. But that, again, this is just nitpicky type of things, options, I guess, for the future.
I think I have a picture where I did zoom in as much as I could, so the tree is quite, takes a lot of space. So maybe
that'd be interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the suggestion is maybe less about getting this bigger, but just getting some of the sky underneath the branches here. Okay, so, but yeah, just such a pretty image, and definitely has that George style to it. Even if you aren't sure what that style means, this is a George image here. Any other questions on this one?
No, I don't know. The only thing that kind of doesn't make it very complete is, or I don't know if I couldn't say bother me, is that on the left side it's very light. There's this all these colors on the right side, and on the left side it gets there is something missing, it seems. Although there is some light coming in, because that's where the sun was.
Right.
But yeah, that's the only thing that I think of this image.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, if there's any way to take some of the color that's over here and add it over there. And then I think I've been watching some of Verena Patel's critiques lately. Have you seen very many of hers?
Which one?
Verena Patel, master.
No.
She talks about how I think I hope I have the right one. I think it was she who was talking about this, about how our eyes, our beingness, know what images at certain times are kind of supposed to look like because of the way that the light falls and that we've seen it so many times. We may not be able to express it or actually be aware that we're noticing it, but that sometimes, like if you were to take some of these colors and add it over here, that our eyes might think that's not quite right.
Okay.
But when you have it like this, you know that the light is coming from that direction, and so maybe it's a matter of just kind of whether you use like a little bit more vibrance or luminance or something in here to make it just maybe a little bit more dramatic if you want to. Maybe that's an idea, but otherwise leaving that just so that you have that, so that you know that our eyes are seeing.
Yeah, you're
what
absolutely
you saw. So just a couple different options there. But otherwise, pretty,
Thank you.
very pretty shot. I see one, big, printed big. I think on like a canvas. I think that would look really pretty, hanging somewhere. All right, let's go to the next one. How about this?
This one was taken at the same time, the same day as the first one, the black and white.
Okay.
This is a waterfall. I forgot the name of the waterfall. It's basically, I don't know, maybe a few kilometers away from the first picture where it was taken. And it's a place where you can go behind the waterfall. You can go actually all around the waterfall, and was quite cool. There were many people there. I tried to get them out with Photoshop, make it look all natural or clean. It was the first time I took photos with a DSLR at all, and what I liked about having a DSLR was that I can make it look a bit, blurry through the shutter speed, having it open for a longer time. But I didn't have a tripod, naturally. It was, I tried to make the waterfall look it's flowing, smooth, but not too smooth. I wanted to see this the waves that you can see where the water hits down on the ground. Yeah, and the color again was incredible. This very, very light and bright green and the dark red that you could see in Iceland was the first time I saw something, and was amazing. So I tried to bring that up in this picture too.
No, it's beautiful. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be right there and see this. It's interesting that you say that about having the tripod. I know that you said that in the comments that you did not have one there too, because that's what I was going to say. It would have been interesting to see this one with the silkiness that you talk about, but you're already aware of that one. Although I still really like this. It almost looks like a transparent kind of like a sheet, or there's a fabric called tulle, or in the United States that's a sheer kind of fabric that you can see through, and definitely that sheet of water looks like that. I love the transparency that you can see through it and see some of the greens that are on the other side of that. I think that's very, very nicely caught there, and the colors look very natural as well, with the greens over here, and then you've got the red oranges in the background there too. Just a couple things was that the sky over here just looks a little. What were you gonna say?
Darker.
Yeah, darker, or it just looks a little bit gray. It might be interesting to play with some different, with the gradient filter, and take that down and see what you could do to maybe bring out the contrast between this edge and the rest of the sky, because right now it kind of just blends in. So maybe doing something a little more adding some more interest somehow, not in a like an overly bright way or dark way, but just doing something up here to add a little contrast to the rest of the image there. And I like the fact that you've got this bridge here and the house as scale. This thing just looks immense compared to this tiny little house in the background there. And you said that you took people out of this image as well?
Yes, I did.
And where were they?
They were behind the waterfall. Can you see there where the a bit on the right side where your mouse is? There is a path. There were
right
people
here?
standing.
Oh, gotcha, right here?
Yeah. No, a bit further up. And now to the left? No, to the right. Yes, there is a path. You see that? It was like a sea.
Okay.
So there's a path that goes down and then goes around basically my side, and of course down on the green on the left side of the picture.
Gotcha. Well, you did a very nice job of removing the people, because I had no idea that there was anybody else there besides you on that. I cannot notice that in the least on that.
Luckily, there was nobody standing on the bridge. I think that's really difficult.
That would have been a little bit tricky. That would have been tricky. Something I don't know. I don't know whether I would leave it that way or not, but something that might be. Well, I don't know. I'm caught between. It'd be interesting to see what this house would maybe be like, like over somewhere else. But I don't know whether in the end I would like that or not. It just seems like there's this subject that's right in here, and then this part. It's like it cuts. Or and I don't know if maybe doing something with the sky up here might add something to it as well.
I will try that. But I do remember that was very, you couldn't basically see any clouds. I know that with RAW you can see some things that your eyes can't see.
Right.
I will try that.
Otherwise, very nice image. I can't wait to go to Iceland someday on that.
I hope to meet everybody there.
I do too. I do too. Okay, let's go to the last one here. The bee. Tell us about this one.
This one was I just had my first camera, and I don't have a macro lens, but I still like close-ups, getting very close to the image. And I always wanted to have a photograph of a bee in a flower. So that's what I tried to capture. It was very difficult because the bee is moving. And, so yeah, it wasn't quite easy to get close, have it sharp, have a shallow depth of field, so I could blur the rest out, and have only a very small part of the photo with the bee in focus. And after taking it, I kind of started experimenting with visco filters, and I found that this one that I applied, although I have a visco filter here and a mixture as well, I thought that this made the picture look a bit dreamy, like in a fairy tale. So that's what I liked the most about it. I don't know why. Maybe the flowers. I don't know. But I like this look. If you see the original picture, it's quite different. But that's what I liked about that one. I don't know. It fitted.
I would love to see the original one then, because I'm intrigued to see how this shifted so much from the original to this one. It's beautiful. This is the kind of shot that I that I like, that I prefer to shoot. For myself, I do a lot of the macro and close-ups. So anytime I see flowers and insects and bees and all that kind of close up, I'm a little I get excited seeing that. So really liked this image, and the fact that you have the hot pink choice as well. That's one of my favorite colors. So you've got Shari points all over the place with this one. Yeah, and so you said what kind of a lens was it that you were using, or what was the
good lens? 2870.
Okay, the 2817. Have you ever used a telephoto lens to do macro?
No, it's just the one lens that I have.
Oh, okay. All right. Sometime if you get a telephoto, they're kind of fun to play with. You have to stay back further. It's a completely different approach, because with the macro lenses, you're right up on the things. You can get really, really, really close. And the telephotos, you have to stay back about 3.5 feet or so, which is good with bees, because then you don't have to worry about them, coming over and stinging you or bothering you. But someday, if you have one of those, it's fun to play with. But so about how far away from the bee were you when you took this?
I think pretty close, actually. Maybe 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters away.
Close, quite close.
Yes.
Well, I really, especially hearing your story and the concepts that you had and what you were going for here, you definitely got the dreamy look to it. The colors look really good and vibrant. You've got the bee there. I notice when I come in, there's just a few what they call the artifacts on it, but I think it works with this one because you're trying to go for that dreamier, I would almost say painted-ish quality of the image too. And your choice of the vignette works great for bringing our eyes right back in, and I feel like this flower right here in particular with the lines bring us right over to the bee that is right there. I mean, for the goals that you had for this image, it seems like you really executed it. And I was just playing and experimenting because I do a lot of that with the the vibrance. You could if you're wanting more of that look, just slightly higher on that. I don't know how much of a difference that made. Not significant on that, so maybe not even worth that. But another thing might be is I love the pinks and the flowers, but even to draw more attention here, maybe you could go in with the adjustment brush and ever so slightly, lighten up the pinks that maybe are just right around the bee, so that the bee comes out just a little bit. But like I said, just a hint. I don't think it would take very much because it actually looks pretty good the way it is. Just trying to think of ways that you can even make that bee stand out even more there.
Okay.
And then perhaps darkening some of the lighter areas back here in the green, so that it's less, so that our eyes don't quite go up there. Maybe that's another option too. But again, these are just looking for things. I think when I hear about your goals for this image, I think that you definitely hit it. It looks dreamy. You've got the bee. You've got the great color contrasts, and the vignette brings our eyes right back to the center. So very nice photo.
Thank you, Shari.
So any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
I discovered a few weeks ago a way to make a picture sharper without using this the sharpening tool on either Lightroom or Photoshop, but with a high pass filter, and it works very good. So I might apply that to make the bee look more sharp, and use also topaz denoise to get some of the artifacts out again. I didn't do that yet, but I think this could enhance the image as well.
Oh, I would agree with that. I would agree. And have you ever done where is it? Kyle Van Neden is another apprentice who is on the path of the protege, and he showed me one day how to use the sharpening mask. Have you ever done that in Lightroom?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like holding the Alt key to see.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you are aware of that one already. Um, so yeah, no, I would love to see this again once you get those other things done, and see how that brings in the clarity more of that of the bee. Such a pretty image.
Thank you.
Back to you. So any questions or any other comments?
I thank you for your critique, for your suggestions. I think they are great. They can enhance definitely the images, and I will try to apply them.
Well, great. It was a lot of fun to look at those images and hang out with you and talk about the different options. So thanks for your time as well, George.
Thank you,
Okay, let me
Shari.
go ahead and stop the broadcast here.